Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to start with a quote. The ears of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. Great president once said that. Mr. President, I rise today to make it clear to everyone in this chamber exactly why I cannot support this legislation. You've heard the chants outside this chamber, not just today and last night, but many times over the past 2 years. Thousands of people have shown up, union and non-union, men and women, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, even their children. These are the working families of Michigan. These are the thousands of people that I would sit here to represent. When I vote no, I'm voting no on behalf of the thousands of families. Who are you voting yes for? Grover Norquist? I know he sent you all a letter asking you to support this anti-worker legislation. You are voting yes because a handful of corporate lobbyists, a handful of fat cats in the back are telling you to. That's who you work for, the powerful few, the guys with top hats and monocles. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I work for the people, for the many. I proudly represent them in casting this no vote. I'm doing what's right, what's good for the people. And I tell you this, Mr. President, we will fight you. We will not let this stand. We'll fight you from Kalamazoo to Timbuktu. We'll fight you from the streets and in the suites. We'll fight you in the pit house and we'll fight you in the outhouse. And Mr. President, I'll tell you this right now, when it's all said and done, when it's all over, we will grab the thunderbolt of truth. We will grab the rod of revolution and we will have our victory. And the spoils will go to the working people of Michigan. And you will forever remember the day when you thought you could conquer labor. You were sorely mistaken. Be prepared to engage in the fight of your life. You might win this battle, but the wars are brewing, sir. The wars are brewing, sir. And we're coming, and we're taking no prisoners, and we're taking no quarter. And Mr. President, when all said is done, working men and women of this state will reign supreme.
Hello and welcome to The Young Effect. I am your state senator, Coleman Alexander Young II. You shouldn't be outside. It is hot, an absolute scorcher. But if you are, hopefully you listen to me. You can watch it all around the world on www.tv33whpr.com. That's www.tv33whpr.com. Also, let me say this as well. As always, we want to give honor to our heroes, those who have fallen overseas, as well as their families, over they're fighting in Afghanistan or they fought in Iraq or wherever they happen to be. I just want to let you know that we love you and we're praying for you, as well as our police officers and firefighters and emergency services personnel who do it the right way. We love you, we thank God for you, and we bless you. We want to pray for you. Anybody out there in Detroit that's been overlooked, that's been forgotten, all the social workers, all the water warriors, anybody out there who we forgot. We just want to say we love you, we appreciate you, we praying for you. Please join me in a moment of silence. All right, thank you for that. And with that being said, it's open mic night. You can call in, talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Always been a pleasure to be here with you. As you can see, I have this lion right here on the table. This represents an award I got from Brother Troy Muhammad. All those brothers over there from the Nation of Islam, over there at Muhammad Mosques #2. They gave me this. It's #2, ain't it? 1. He's saying 1. I thought it was 2. All right, he's saying this 1 is #1. I'm gonna go with. I'm arguing with Brother Bay in the background. Thought it was #1. I thought it was #2. All right, #1. Muhammad Mosque #1. I got this lion from Father Like Son Award. Honor my father. They allowed me to go there and speak today. That was a good thing. So I'm very glad about that when they let me speak yesterday. Saturday. So I went over there and took care of that. And all was well, and that was good. I want to thank all those brothers there from Muhammad Mosque 1 for allowing me to be over. It's 1. I thought it was 2. All right. It's 1. All right, so it's 1. So it's 1. We want to thank them over there. We'll make sure we get that right. 1, and everybody out there. I want to give a shout out to everybody out there just finishing their fast in Ramadan, celebrating that as well. God bless you. We love you. Peace be unto you. So that being said, I just wanted to say that. Also, I wanted to promote an event that I got coming up. Monday, June 25th, 2018 is the 100th birthday celebration for my father, Coleman Young Sr. I'm having an event. It's Monday, June 25th, 2018. That's Monday, June 25th, 2018. That's Monday, June 25th, 2018, 6 to 8 p.m. at Mario's Restaurant. That's 6 to 8 p.m. at Mario's Restaurant. That's 4222 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. 4222 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. 4222 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, and Mario's Restaurant. So we love to have you there. Also, I just wanted to say before we get this started, it's been a very interesting week. This week, we had one day this week that was a Tuesday where we did a whole bunch of things. And then after that, we are off now in Lansing. We will be back after. I think we'll be back in September, if I'm not mistaken. But we are off till at least till after the election, which is August the 7th. So we are now on summer recess, and there were a lot of things that they did. It's a lot of things that happened not this week, but the week before that as well, leading up to this. As you all know about prevailing wage, what I thought was a disaster. That they basically got rid of that. I don't know how you're going to get rid of set standards that's going to help people get out of poverty. I think we need prevailing wages. I think we need living wages. We're talking about the people who build, the infrastructure of our day, where they build, the museums, the stadiums, the skyscrapers, whatever have you. These are the people who are professionals who build these things, and they shouldn't be starving. I don't think anybody should be working full-time in America and struggling to make ends meet. Or starving. You know what I mean? And that's what we have right now. And I think a lot of that is due to the decline, and I personally think the assault on labor unions across this country has been going on for a very long time. And if you want to know why we have income inequality, if you want to know why a CEO's pay is 360 times more than the average worker, that's because of the decline of the labor union, the working man's voice, period. And this is something that's happening every day, all the time. And so I think it's very important in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I think that's something that happened this week. But also, I want to say this, and then I'm going to get into my topic real quick that I want to talk about. I think it's very important, particularly up there in Washington right now, that it's hot outside. I'm talking to people right now. I'm having these conversations off camera, as you can see. It's telling me it's sweating right now. Like, it's hot outside. It's hot in here. You know what I mean? It's hot everywhere right now. I mean, it's a scorcher, man. It's that dry heat. You know what I mean? So you gotta make sure that you're out there. Oh yeah, Happy Father's Day, by the way. And if you mama and daddy, Happy Father's Day to you too. A lot of single mothers out there, so we want to make sure that we respect. Let me do it. What are you doing?
I'm one too.
I'm on air right now.
That's right.
You can't keep doing
and
this.
I don't want you to be
Oh
on
my
air.
God, it's embarrassing right now.
Happy Father's Day.
What are you doing to me
There
right
you
now?
go.
Really? Did you just do that right now?
Yes, I did.
That's unbelievable.
Sweating on TV.
I can't. I'm stunned. I'm literally stunned, brother, man. You know, we might have to call a commercial just for me to get myself together here. Oh my God, that's gonna be on Instagram and Snapchat and all that. That's ridiculous. Do we have any callers? Okay. Yeah, I know we got a call after what you just did. Hello? This is Coleman Young being pampered by his mother on live television. Hello?
Hi, this is Kathy from the East Side.
Hey, Kathy.
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to see what happened,
Oh, okay.
but I'm just so excited that you're going to be on the ballot.
Yeah. Me too.
I know that you're not going to be on the ballot twice. Is
No.
there a reason?
Well, because I want to finish. There's some things I want to finish in Lansing first. So, because there's two. For everybody to understand, there's two elections. There's one election to fill the 2-month term to finish John Conyers' first term, and then there is an election to be able to go forward beyond that and fill your whole 2-year term. So it's to finish Representative Conyers' term, and then it's to go on to serve the full 2-year term. I forego the election to be able to fulfill John Conyers' finish his term and basically just serve the 2-year term. And the reason why I did that is because there's some things I want to do in Lansing that I was elected to do, that I campaigned on doing, and I want to keep my word to the electorate and to the voters. There's some things I think we can get done on auto insurance. I want to do some things on residency, bringing that back in Detroit, and hopefully maybe we could do some things involving funding for mass transit as well. And I think if we could do these things, these are some of the goals that I have right now of things that I campaigned on and have been campaigning on for a very long time, as well as creating jobs and putting people back to work. And so there's some things
Right.
that I think we could do in order to get that goal. I've reached some of those goals in Lansing to a certain degree, one way or another. You know what I mean? I just appropriated another $500,000 to the Charles H. Wright Museum, and there's more money to for Wayne State for a capital outlay project that I'll talk more about next week once I get the full final details of all of it. So there's been more money that I've done in terms of creating jobs, in terms of protecting our cultural institutions as well as our academic institutions as well. And so these are things that I think that I've done, that I fought for. Also, I've secured over $30 million for indigent defense. That's for poor people to be able to have access to legal defense, you know, if they need it. As well as secured, I think, $15 million for fire protection grants as well in the budget. So I just did that recently. That passed, so we could claim victories on those things. So those are some good things that I've done overall, you know what I mean, since I've been up here, you know, in Lansing. But there's some major things I want to finish. That auto insurance thing is one of them. That's something that I think that we could do in lame duck. That's been hurting a lot of people, because I don't have to explain this to you, Kathy. But you got people whose car insurance is more than their car note. So,
That's right.
I mean, you know, this is something that we definitely, well, a lot of people whose car insurance is definitely more than their car note. So this is something that we could really do and get done. And I definitely think if we could solve that divide, I really think Detroit would be well on its way. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I appreciate that you are a man of your word and that you're going to finish out your term. I just think it's very selfish for people to run for elections while they're still holding a seat. I think it's just being selfish. They're just looking out for their own good. There's people who are just elected in November that are running for this seat. And I'm not going to name any names. I don't want to give them any flaw. But I just think it's just very strange and just very selfish for someone to run for another seat while they already have a seat.
Well, look.
Thank you for taking my...
Well, listen, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. And look, here's the thing. Bottom line is I plan on winning this seat. And when I do, I'm going to serve the people to the best of my ability. And I'm very humbled and very honored to be considered and to have this privilege and opportunity to run. And that's what's going to happen. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or trying to do or saying they're going to do. If you want somebody with a 12-year record of getting things done, you know what I mean, I'm your man. You know, period. I mean, I think it just comes down to, I think that what we want in Congress is somebody that's going to actually get some things done and got a record of doing that. And I got a record of doing that. So.
Yeah, again, you're the only one that I know that's passing laws. And isn't that what being in the legislation, a legislative person is supposed to do, is to write laws and pass laws?
Well, I
There's
mean,
people who have been elected officials in the past who've done nothing for the people.
well, I mean, look, it's about passing laws, but I think it's also about passing laws that is actually going to do something for the people in which you're serving. You know what I mean? And I think that I've done it. I mean, I think that I've had a career that's really kind of done that. I think it's kind of helped a lot of people. I think all the bills that I've passed had a purpose in one way or another. I think even the bills that might be considered more smaller bills have actually been bills that have actually really helped a lot of people and solve a lot of problems. I mean, you know, whether it be the legislation that I had for historic civil rights legislation involving women with mandatory paid leave, whether since we're providing mandatory paid leave for women in the public and private sectors, whether it's also been, creating 10,000 jobs through movie tax credits, whether it's been small businesses, energy cost recovery. Just now, I mean, we passed legislation in order to rename a part of a highway after Colin Rose. You know, the young man who lost his life. Who the young man lost his life, unfortunately, from Wayne State. It's the only Wayne State police officer. They are actually trained police officers, by the way. These are actual police officers. So when you see a Wayne State police officer, that's an actual police officer. You know what I mean? Actual Detroit police officer.
Conference on that?
So,
I don't remember reading about that.
What?
Did they have a news conference or some kind of
They did.
Healing?
They did a while ago. They had a news conference about that. They had some things a while ago. It took me a while in order to kind of get that done. There were some bumps in the road, some things in my.
But were you the one that did that?
Yeah, I was the one that basically passed the. We just passed that legislation in order to rename part of that highway after Colin Rose. So
I didn't see you on TV talking about it.
Well, I wasn't part of all the conversations. You know, they were having discussions about honoring him and doing things of that nature. I don't know if there was necessarily a press conference about the legislation per se. I think that was more about Colin Rose, and then they would hint at, or tease, about Lancey trying to do some things to honor him. But we finally got that done. So at least we passed out the Senate. I think he passed out the House as well. So finally we got that done. So hopefully it'll go to the governor's desk and he'll sign it.
Well, thank you for, again, taking my call, and thank you for being on the ballot. And thank you for not forgetting the people in your district who voted you to be a senator first.
No problem. Thank you, Kathy. Love you, appreciate you. So, I mean, I think that's something that's very important. I want to talk a little bit today about, I think, something that's kind of overlooked right now. I want to talk about two things. I'm going to kind of break it up. But one, I think I want to talk a little bit, because today is fatherhood, and we're supposed to be talking about fathers. I think, though, I want to talk, it's something I talked about earlier, but it's from a different angle. I think that the prison industrial system, or the institutional racism that basically exists in our country through the correction system, I think has systematically stripped out entire generations of black leadership, particularly black male leadership. And a lot of times people ask, well, where are the black fathers? Well, most of the black fathers are in prison or in jail. And 1 out of 3 black men are expected to go to prison in their lifetime. And I say this because I think that we really don't, I don't think there's a lot of people who understand, because a lot of people, when you talk about the war on drugs, you just talk, they figure they just talk about people who are out there who just drug dealing, or people who are out there who are just using drugs and who are drug users. And there's not a lot of people who don't understand that if you're a black man you 12 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of a drug crime. And they also talk about, black on black crime. And they say, I think they say like there's a percentage that says that black men are 7 times more likely than white men to be able to commit violent crimes or commit murders or homicide. But I find that the same number that they use in order to justify the disproportionate arrests of African American men in the prison system is the same number that the National Registry of Exonerations uses when they say that black men are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of murder. I think there's a problem with that. And I'm not trying to get into conspiracy theories or anything of that nature. I'm just saying I have a fundamental problem, and I think there's an that inconsistency I do not think is coincidence. And I think that we have a system right now that was supposed to be about correction and rehabilitation and has instead become about punishment and profit. And whether it's private prison system, whether it's the jail industrial complex, because you got 450,000 people across this country right now who are sitting in bail and who can't get out because they can't afford it. Like, they can't afford it. Like, think about that for a minute. Like, you sitting in jail and you can't afford it. You can't afford to get out. You can't afford bail. And the system that we got now, 98% of the cases are plea. It's plea bargain. Most cases don't even go to trial. They cut a deal. You got to say you guilty of something that you more than likely didn't do. And then you let out. And you got to deal with that. That's not justice. That's not fair or effective administering of justice. But that's the legal system. It's designed to break you. It's not designed to build you or rehabilitate you. So think about that for a minute. And think about what impact that's had on our black men in society. And our fathers, our families. Because 1 out of 6 black children have a parent that's incarcerated. So mass incarceration policy is education policy. Because now you affected the children. And remember, black children are 3 times more likely to be suspended in kindergarten. So that's how the prison to pipeline, school to prison pipeline starts. So from the time you were a child to the time you an adult, you already being conditioned to be put into the jail industrial complex and prison industrial complex. And that's not by accident. I mean, remember, after the Civil War, when they ended slavery, the first thing they did was they changed the objective and directives of the prison system to target African American people, passed a whole bunch of laundering law, whole bunch of laws designed to lock up black people for being black. And then through convict leasing, they would lease out those prisoners to corporations in order to rebuild the South after the war. So that mentality, that directive, that policy, that law, that ghost in the machine, the spirit of the law, not just the letter, but the spirit of the law, the intent of the law, still rests, moves, and breathes in the system we have today. So you got some callers. Caller, you on the air. Welcome to the Young Effect.
Happy Sunday.
Hey.
Happy Sunday and happy Father's Day.
Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Hope you're not outside.
And
been there and done that. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I've always said that it's a systemic, brutal, racial system that set up tricks and traps for conviction. So, but it targets more blacks and the Hispanics. It's a targeting factor for profit. It's
Yeah,
a
man.
cause and effect for profit, and that's all it is. We're still looked at as commodities, sheep and cattle and sheep are for Wall Street. So they need bodies. They either need you in the grave or they need you enslaved. So either way, you know, you can be a living slave or you can be jail slave, and you can be a mental slave. So they got us everywhere but loose, and we must educate to liberate. I just want to say, Coleman Young Jr., you're the man for the job, and you come and you're cut from the cloth that cares about people's needs and cause. And so definitely you got my vote. I'm in the house.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
you. Appreciate you. Tell your friends. Vote for Coleman Alexander Young II. That's what it's all about. It's all about voting. Getting up and getting out there. Vote. Call you on the air. All right. So that being said, I want to continue what we were saying before. If you know Latinx men, you 1 out of 6 times. No, 1 out of 6 Latinx men are expected to go to prison in their lifetime. Latinx is Latinos. It's called Latinx now. So I gotta talk to my mom right now. Everybody want to ask these questions when I'm on the air. All right. So I gotta be careful. She might come out here and pat my head down again. So let me say this too about.
I'm sorry. To
You,
your viewers,
you ain't
and
gotta
I'm
apologize.
sorry
Nah,
to
you
you.
ain't gotta apologize. I'm just being funny. You ain't. It's not that serious. So look. Prisons, right? That's what we're talking about. So listen, I just think that whenever we had this argument about the prison system or about African American men, it really makes me upset is the fact that we don't talk about it in this totality. We don't talk about the fact that African American people were the only people that in the Constitution were legally described as being 3/5 of a person. That the dehumanization of an entire group of people was at one point in time not part of the law, part of the supreme law of the country. I don't think that's ever happened. You got another caller? Call you in the air. Welcome to the Young Effect.
Good afternoon. Wonderful show.
Thank you. Dee Dee.
Yes. You were saying that after the war, they took black folks back down south to help rebuild the South?
Yeah, they locked them up and they put them in prison, and then afterwards they released them. They called it convict leasing. They released them out of these prisons, and then they would rebuild the South. These private corporations to rebuild the South. They passed all these laws, these low-level laws in terms of like loitering and doing other things of that nature, basically existing as a black person. They made it harder for them to do things legally, which allowed them to be locked up and arrested. And then through that, they leased them out and they had them rebuild the South with convict leasing.
Thank you for that information and then that history.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, a wonderful show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love you. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day to my 2 sons.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Coleman. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Bye now. And oh yeah, remember we're meeting every Saturday at 11:30 at 360 8 LaBelle. That's over there at Great. I might got the address wrong. Don't quote me. But it's over there at Great St. Matthews. Great St. Matthews, 1130 on LaBelle Street. Great St. Matthews. That's Brother Bullock's church, Reverend Bullock's church, right over there. We love to have you come on by. Got another caller? Caller, hello.
Hello, Coleman.
Hey.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
What I call for, I don't quite understand. When am I supposed to vote for you? You say you're not going to be able for 2 months. I'm confused now.
August 7th.
Okay, August 7th.
Just find my name on August 7th. Just find my name on the ballot, the 2-year term. Just find where you say Coleman Young on the ballot and vote for me.
Okay.
One time.
And then we'll vote for you in November, too?
Well, yes, you will, but right now we're going to vote August the 7th. Just find Coleman Young on the ballot and check it one time.
I will do. I love you.
Love you more.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. That's it? Okay. So remember that. We were deemed 3/5 of a person. In the Supreme Legal Document, how black men were treated, how they were mutilated, how they were lynched. Sometimes they were lynched and castrated. Sometimes they were lynched, castrated, and burned. And I'm not saying this to be grotesque or be gruesome or be graphic or provocative. I'm saying this to put you in the mindset that when it came to African Americans, it wasn't just a race question. You know, as Charles Blow would tell you, it was also a species question. Whether or not we were inferior we were an inferior species, that we did not have the intellect, we did not have the ability, we did not have the talent, we did not have the mental capacity as people who were Caucasian were, or the dominant society at that time. And they did that to justify the harsh, inhumane, malevolent treatment of African American people. The violence, the denial of knowledge, of education, of equal rights, of humanity. That was what slavery was about. It was a question of humanity, of denying one's humanity solely based on the color of their skin. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because even though the practices in terms of it is not the practice, let me back up. The legal framework of that has changed. Slavery still exists in our prison system now. Today, the 13th Amendment even says that slavery is prohibited except in our correction system. That's in the Constitution. I didn't say that. The Constitution did. We got some more callers. We're going to take some callers real quick. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I have a quick question. Let me cut my phone. I don't know if I got to cut the TV down. I'm sorry. I never got through before.
That's all right. We're glad to have you. Glad to have you through. First time caller?
Thank you.
Yeah, first.
Okay.
All right, first time caller. Go ahead.
My $1 million question is, what do you think about, even though we're talking about racism and slavery, I want to change it a little in reference to what's going on here in the city of Detroit. I'm a taxpayer. I've owned property since I became an adult. I did fall short, and I went in through the penal system, so I can touch on how the racism and the slavery continues. Not only that, the corruption, but it starts with the government. I mean, you had not a chance in the election merely because the finance, and it should not be beamed around finance. It should be the people's choice. I'm going through ATLL, and it's not for the media. However, when you get a chance, I would like you to contact me in reference to some of the corruption around the city of Detroit, not only with the police department, but also with 400 Monroe. My phone might hang up. I won't speak any further because we're on the air, but racism does exist in every measure.
Well, listen, you should call my office so I can get your number. We can talk.
Okay, how can I find that number?
Okay, I'm going to give it to you right now. You get a pen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you call at 517.
Place the ink pen, of course, stop writing. Don't you bring up this right here, 1 second. I apologize. Okay, 517.
373.
517 what?
373.
373.
73.
Yes.
46.
46. Happy Father's Day, and I'll call you later. God bless.
God bless you. Love you too.
Love you more.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And to our question about financing campaigns, listen, I think that's why we need public financing in this country. I think that's something that's very important. I think we need to overturn. The most we need is public financing. The least we could do is overturn the Citizens United decision, which I think has been absolutely disastrous. You have the caller? Hello?
Oh, how are you today, Coleman?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. I was sitting back here talking to my daughter, who's the real estate broker, and she said, I want to send him a nice donation. Now, when I hang up, I want you to give the information how she can send you a nice donation.
Okay.
And I want to say to you, too, you know who I am, right?
Yes.
Okay, I buried my brother, my only son on last week. I buried my only son on last week, Coleman.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I'm kind of sad today, so you and your mom, remember me in your prayers.
Yes, we most certainly will. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, okay. Well, give me information how she can send you a donation.
I most certainly will. I'll get to you as soon as you're done.
Thank you. Take care now.
Love you.
Love you all, too. Bye-bye.
Bye now. First of all, I'd like to say I'm so sorry for your loss of your son again. If you want to give me a donation, you can either go to ColemanYoung.com. That's ColemanYoung.com. ColemanYoung.com. Or you can give it at 269 Walker. That's 269 Walker, Detroit, Michigan, 48207, Suite 438. Again, that's 269 Walker, Detroit, Michigan, suite number 438. So that zip code 48207. So if you want to mail it, that's 269 Walker, Suite 438, Detroit, Michigan, 48207. So that's 269 Walker, Detroit, Michigan, Suite 438. And then it's zip code 48207, Detroit, Michigan. You can send it there, or you can go to ColemanYoung.com. You can press the donate button and give there. All right, we got another caller? All right. So, I mean, that's very important. It's very important. Listen, again, office, 396 LaBelle Street, Greater St. Matthews. 369 LaBelle Street, Greater St. Matthews, Highland Park. 369 LaBelle Street, Greater St. Matthews, Highland Park. LaBelle at Thompson. LaBelle at Thompson. That is Greater St. Matthews. 396 LaBelle Street, Highland Park. You can go on down there. We meeting 11:30 Saturday. 11:30 Saturday at Great St. Matthews, 396 LaBelle Street, Highland Park, Michigan. Only thing that's missing is you. Also want to give a shout out to Nan. Nan let me go in there and speak Saturday with their annual meeting. All my Nan brothers and sisters out there, love you, appreciate you. Give you a big shout out to Nan and everything. Appreciate that. But like I was saying earlier, look, man, I mean, if you just look at just how black people have been treated throughout society, but particularly black men, I mean, this is just something where we have been oppressed for a very long time and still going through it. You know what I mean? It was slavery, Jim Crow, eugenics. Well, that's basically they were trying to sterilize African American women in order to slow down and eventually eliminate African American births. Whether it was the drug war, which we are still going through now, which was designed, I mean, you know, it was Richard Nixon's brain trust who basically said that, you know, we got a problem in this country. It's with we got a problem. It's with hippies and Negroes. We can't arrest them because they're hippies and Negroes, but we can arrest them. But if we can associate the hippies with marijuana and we can associate Negroes with cocaine and criminalize both heavily, we can surveil their meetings. We can raid their homes. We can arrest their leaders and we can vilify them on the nightly news. Did we know that the war on drugs was a lie? Of course we did. And so, I mean, this is something that came from John Ehrlichman, who was Richard Nixon's right-hand man. You even go back further to Harry J. Anslinger, who was the head of the Bureau of Narcotics before it became the DEA today, or the precursor for the DEA. It basically, he said, the reason, I'm paraphrasing here, but the reason why marijuana is bad is because it makes white women susceptible to sleeping with Negroes. Now, and he said that in front of Congress. So, I mean, you know, you can't tell me that the war on drugs wasn't designed to lock up black and brown people and target minorities for the purposes of them being part of the prison industrial complex. And then people want to talk about where the black father's at. We got a caller? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Coleman.
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Wanted to say hi.
Hey.
Hi.
This is Brenda,
Well,
my BFF right here. We knocked doors together over there in Redford Township yesterday. That was amazing.
Yes, and I just wanted to call in and give the office number. You know,
Yeah.
at the end of the week, the absentee ballots go out. So
Okay.
we need everybody who's getting the absentee ballot to vote for you. And they can call the office if they want to volunteer. 313-675-7960.
Say it again.
313-675-7960. And I'm at the office every day except Sunday.
So 313-675-7960?
Yes.
313-675-7960?
Yes.
313-675-7960.
Absolutely. And
All
we're
right.
at 396 LaBelle, Highland Park.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Love you. Appreciate you.
Love you too. Bye.
Take care now. Bye now. Happy Father's Day to you. Love you. Appreciate you. Everybody who's mother and daddy, happy Father's Day. We got another caller? Hello?
Hi, Coleman. My name is Lori Ware.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My mom just called a few minutes ago. I'm a business owner, and I want to give a donation, and I did record where to mail it or either to do it online. But I wanted to know if we make a check, who does it make payable to?
ColemanYoungForCongress.com. I mean, I'm sorry. Coleman Young for Congress. I'm sorry. Coleman Young for Congress.
Got it.
Thank you.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Good luck. Take
Thank
care.
you, Lori.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Again, you can donate at 269 Walker, Suite 438, Detroit, Michigan, 48207, Coleman Young for Congress. Coleman Young for Congress. We got another caller? Hello, caller.
Yes, happy Sunday. And you
Hey, how you doing, Miss Broughton?
I'm doing fantastic. I wanted to call in and say happy Sunday to you and happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. And also, if I remember right, you were the first one to sound the alarm as it relates to that hepatitis A. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was one of the first people. I wasn't the first person, but I was one of the first people
Oh, okay.
on a large stage.
Well, right. And I've been sharing with people that, it's already been reported that it is traveled through fecal matter, etc. Well, the single cigarettes, which are sold, all loose, are illegal. And in the gas stations and stores, they're still selling them. And I was thinking about it, the package comes sealed, and it's sealed for sanitary reasons. But if the single cigarette is sold, and the clerk, which we don't know, is not washing his hands after using the toilet throughout the day, and handling the cigarette, that's nasty. They lay it on the counter, which is nasty. Money's laid on the counter, which is nasty. And no wonder the hepatitis and all other diseases are being passed around.
Well, I mean, hepatitis is usually comes from lack of access to clean water, and so a lot of people start doing that. I mean, look, I think that there's a lot, some of it, I think they say half it came from the opioid epidemic. In terms of what's going on, in terms of lack of access to clean water, and any needles or whatever else, from my understanding. But I also think, and Henry Ford had reported that I think it was about 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 2 houses. That, if you lived in a block with, if you lived in a block with where water was shut off, that you were almost 2 times as likely to catch hepatitis A than if you weren't. I mean, they're saying that it's so bad in Michigan right now that you got people from Ohio who are being warned to take vaccine when they're going down there to not catch hepatitis A. So, I mean, it's bad. This is a little bit of a separate issue, but I mean, they got folks over there. I'm not gonna talk about Wayne State. Never mind. So, you got folks over there at hepatitis A who are doing that. So, listen, I appreciate your call. Love you. Thank you for that. Hello, caller.
Yes, Coleman Young. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
I just want to say that I thank you and I appreciate you for talking about the prison industrial complex and letting people know that slavery is still legal here in the United States of America through the Michigan Department of Correction.
Yeah.
And what people, I'm going to give people just an example. What people is getting paid out here in society to do work for let's say $15 an hour to $27 an hour. Inside the Michigan Department of Corruption, they're only receiving like 10 cents an hour. Literally 10 cents an hour. This is not figuratively speaking. This is not
who are you talking about?
Inside the prison system. That's what they're receiving, the prisoners.
Oh, yeah, the workers in prison. Okay,
that's locked up in prison. They are doing work that people out in society is receiving anywhere from $15 to $27 an hour to do, and they are part of the union here. But inside the prison system, they are only paying them 10 cents an hour.
Wow. I didn't know that.
This is not figuratively speaking. This is literally speaking. You got people that's working in the furniture factories. You got people that's building houses that they're taking into our community, bringing back into our communities through HUD, etc. and they're putting them in the community, but the prisoners are the ones who are building these Lego block houses.
Yeah, the houses. You
know,
have
the
gene
license
companies.
plate-
Telephone.
the
Telecommunication companies too doing that. Yeah.
Yes. So people got to keep in mind that slavery definitely exists here in the United States of America, and it is the prison industrial complex, and it is a business. Incarcerating people is not about punishment. Well, yes, it is. It's about punishment. It's not about rehabilitation.
No.
It's about punishment and business.
Yeah. I agree with you. I totally
And then
agree
when
with
they
you.
come back out. They come back out here in society. They learned all these skills while they was incarcerated, and they can't even receive a job because they're being discriminated against. Because once they check on their application, I have been convicted of a felony. And if they check on their application that they haven't been convicted of a felony, and it's found out that they have been, they lose their job.
Yeah, it's
and
over.
if they check on there that they have been convicted of a felony, they still don't get the job.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. I agree. So listen, I
thank you for
thank
doing
you,
that.
brother. I appreciate your call. I think that's why we need to ban the box. I think that's something that's important too. I don't think we should be ban. I think we should be banning the box in terms of whether people got to sign that. 'Cause that's a death knell right there. You trying to get a job. Got another caller? Oh, that's my time. Remember, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I'm your state senator, Coleman Alexander Young II. We'll see you next time. Soon to be your next congressman. Listen, also, my 107th birthday celebration for my father, the Honorable Coleman Young, Monday, June 25th, 6 to 8 p.m., Mario's Restaurant, 4222 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan. Love to see you there. Take care. God bless.